Gamers! Welcome to another build video. Today I'm bringing you a super strong Dragonknight build for the Necrom update. I've been using this build for months now and I've been having a blast. This build has it all. Huge survivability, crazy burst damage and endless sustain. Dragonknight is of course in a really good place right now in PvP, so it takes advantage of that strength for some great fights in both Cyrodiil and Battlegrounds. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so here we are with a Dragonknight PvP build. Let's buff up and show you some stat sheet. We got 32k health, nice magicka pool, 16k stamina, 5200 weapon damage, a nice equal amount of magicka recovery and stamina recovery, and Dragonknight gets a huge amount back from when they use their ultimate as well. 6k physical penetration, and we do get major breach on this build as well, and some nice resistances going up to around 30k as well on the back bar, and 28k on the front bar. Our race, we are a Nord. We like that for the extra resistances and max stamina and ultimate gain. It's really nice for Dragonknight, and some max health as well. We are also a stage 3 vampire for the undeath passive. We have more than enough recovery on this build, so you know the negatives aren't that bad for us, and the undeath passive is pretty OP right now. We're using Clockwork Citrus Fillet, which gives us max health, health recovery, magicka, and magicka recovery. And we're using the Serpent Wonderstone for stamina recovery. That way we make sure we can sprint, we can dodge, we can break free. So yeah, we've gone with the Serpent. And also I'm mainly using tripods for the health, magicka and stamina back, and the major fortitude, intellect and endurance. So with this recovery from the potion, the recoveries we get from the ultimate, and the recoveries we get usually, we pretty much never run out of stats. It's really nice. So yeah, okay, so let's talk about the sets. The first set we're using is a go-to on the Dragonknight. We're using Daedric Trickery. We have this only active on the back bar, so we have it on a back bar ice stuff, and then we have it on 3 body pieces. So we have it on the feet, the legs, and the gloves. So 3 arm pieces and the back bar ice stuff. So what this does, it gives you health, stamina, magicka, and then when you deal damage, you get one of the 5 major buffs. So you can get Expedition, Protection, Mending, Heroism, or Vitality. So this is great. All of those buffs are really strong on a Dragonknight, and you know, you can get more than one at a time because it procs every 9 seconds, and they last 21 seconds, which is a huge amount of time. So it's really nice on a Dragonknight. And you only need it on the back bar because, you know, you can put a dot on to your target, switch to your back bar, you do damage whilst on your back bar, and then one of them procs. So it's really good to have. Paired with that, on the front bar, we're going for Plague Break. Plague Break is super strong. It always has been super strong. It is getting a nerf during the Necrom update. So I do have an alternate set that you can use, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So this gives you penetration, damage, and then when you deal damage, it applies disease damage over time, and then if they remove it early or they die, it explodes, and it explodes more depending on how many people are in the area. So this is a go-to for PvP. It's always been really strong. So I have this on the front bar weapons. I have on Nirnhone sword and a sharpened mace. And then I have it on 2 jewelry pieces, 2 rings, and then the belt. So that's only going to be active on my front bar. So that's the only place we need it. So we have Daedric Trickery on the back bar, Plague Break on the front bar, and then that gives us enough space for the Bloodspawn monster set, which is super strong on a DK as well. That gives you 1 piece recovery, and then when you take damage, you have a 6% chance to generate 13 ultimate and increase your physical and spell resist by 3,731. So resistances makes us even tankier, and we get more ultimate, which is great for a DK. So we have this, of course, on the helm and shoulders, and then that gives us space for a heavy trainee for the large amount of max health. And then we got one more spot for Sea Serpent's Coil. So, if you don't know what this does, it's a mythic, and while at full health you gain 40% damage reduction. After taking damage while at full health in combat, you gain Serpent's Rebuke for 10 seconds, snaring yourself by 40% and gaining Major Berserk and Major Courage, increasing your damage done by 10% and weapon and spell damage by 430. That is a huge amount of damage. That's pretty much the equivalent of 2 5p sets just on a mythic, but it does snare you, so it slows you down by 40%. But we've got a few things to counter that. For example, we are running 2 Swift, so that will make us much quicker, and we are also running some medium, and we can get Major Expedition from our Daedric Trickery as well. So we can still move. We can still move pretty quick. We're definitely quick without the snare, and we still move pretty quickly with it. So once this is active, you see it with like a little blue flame above your head. You can hit incredibly hard. So yeah. So just to recap, Plague Break on the front bar weapons, 2 jewelry and a belt. Daedric Trickery on back bar, and then 3 armor pieces, 1 trainee, monster set of Bloodspawn, and then the Sea Serpent's Coil. So weights and traits, I've gone for 4 medium on the feet, belt, shoulders and helm, 2 heavy on the big pieces of the chest and the legs, and then a light gloves. And so I've gone reinforced on the big pieces, on the helm, the chest and the legs, and then I've gone for 2 M-Pen, and then 2 well fitted. You can play around with those if you want. Probably don't need the M-Pen if I'm honest. I might switch one of those to well fitted so I can do some more dodge rolls, but I found it's a good balance there. I've got a defending back bar for some extra resistances, and then the jewelry, we're going 2 Swift with weapon damage on a necklace and one of the rings, and then I've gone for an infused Magicka recovery just to make sure we don't run out if we need to spam some heals and stuff. Okay, so I do have an alternate for Plague Break, because this is getting a little bit of a nerf with Necrom, where it's not going to activate on NPCs. NPCs can still increase the explosion damage, but you won't be able to activate the plague carrier effect on NPCs anymore. So what I've been testing out instead is this set called Azure Blight, which gives crit chance, stamina recovery, and then when you deal damage with a damage over time effect, you apply a stack of Blight Seed, and 20 stacks, they explode for a huge amount of damage. That tooltip can go up to 11k, 12k sometimes, especially with your Sea Serpent's Coil procced. So what you can do is you could just trade this out for Plague Break. You could just put it on the weapons, the jewelry, and the body piece. That's all I've been doing. And yeah, so to get 20 stacks, you need to apply damage over time, and we've got a huge amount of damage over time on this build. It's just a DK. DKs have lots of dots. So you can get up to 20 stacks really quickly. I have found though that Azure Blight doesn't work in as many situations as you would like. For example, Plague Break works in pretty much every fight, right? Like as soon as you hit somebody, it applies it, they remove it, and they blow up, and you can get some really good situations. Where Plague Break doesn't really work is in those like 1v1 fights in Cyrodiil, or like small scale. But that's where Azure Blight comes in, because if you can target somebody, and you can time it so the 20 stacks happen just as you stun them and just as you get your ultimate, and you can, we're using Dragon Leap on this, so you can stun them, this will explode, Dragon Leap will hit them, you can proc a big whip, so you can get a huge amount of burst, especially for those people who are like running really tanky builds. It really can wipe them out. So keep in mind, if you don't want to run Plague Break, Azure Blight is a pretty good go-to. So let's get on to the skills. On the front bar, we are going with Whirling Blades. This is a huge damage, really nice execution, and yeah, I just really like it. We've gone with Molten Whip. Lash an enemy with flame, dealing 7,000 flame damage. If you strike an enemy that is mobile or stunned, you set them off balance. And whenever you activate a different Ardent Flame ability, you gain a stack of Seething Fury, increasing the damage of your next Molten Whip by 20% and your weapon and spell damage by 100 for 15 seconds. So using different Ardent Flame abilities, we have another 2 right here. So we can use those and then proc a really nice whip, and absolutely wipes people out. And this costs both Magicka and Stamina. This is our stun, Shattering Rocks. It's really nice, it can't be blocked or dodged, and it heals you. So, you know, what I usually do is I wear people down when they're just about to die, hit them with this, and there's nothing they can do about it. That, you know, they're going to take some more damage and die. Or you can just keep using this every time their CC immunity runs out and just run them out of stamina. And it heals you, so it's very nice for keeping you alive as well. We're going with Flames of Oblivion. Activate an Aura of Flames, which launches a fireball at 3 enemies every 5 seconds, dealing flame damage. While slotted, you gain Major Prophecy and Savagery, increasing your spell and weapon crit, which is really nice. The good thing about this is you can spam it, so you don't have to wait 5 seconds for a fireball to go off. You can literally just spam it, it's not too expensive, and, you know, hit 3 people with fireballs every time. And it procs stronger Molten Whips, so it's nice to have. And then Burning Embers, this is a really good dart, really good damage over time, and a really good heal as well. So what I usually do is I will like cycle between Flames of Oblivion and Burning Embers till I get 3 stacks of Seething Fury, and then usually I would stun them and then hit them with a whip, and then maybe a Ferocious Leap as well. So we're using Ferocious Leap, does flame damage to all enemies in the area, knocking them back and stunning them. And you gain a huge damage shield, so it can keep you alive as well. This is the most fun ultimate in the game, if you ask me. You can just dive into the middle of people and, you know, start swinging. Okay, and then on the back bar, we're using Volatile Armor. This is our Major Resolve buff. It does a bit of damage over time as well. And yeah, scales off your physical and spell resistance, so that's really good. I'm using Degeneration. I'm using this for the Major Brutality and Sorcery buff. I was using Igneous Weapons because this can give you Major Brutality for 1.2 minutes, which is a huge amount of time. But this also does proc your Mountain's Blessing passive as well, giving you Minor Brutality. So that increases your weapon damage by 10%, and then this increases it by 20%. So you could get 30% increased damage just by using this. The only problem I had with this is it is kind of expensive, and I kind of wanted another dot. I kind of wanted another damage over time, especially when I was running Azure Blight. So yeah, I do kind of prefer Degeneration. Plus we can get the Minor Brutality buff from our Shattering Rocks anyway. So, you know, it was kind of unnecessary. So I went with Degeneration. But you can go with the other one if you want to. Elemental Susceptibility. This is why we're using a Destruction Staff on our back bar. This gives them Major Breach, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 6k. And also, this applies the Burning, Chilled, and Concussed status effects. So you can hit them with a huge amount of status effects. Burning does increase damage. I think Chilled does minor maim, which makes them do 5% less damage. And Concussed makes them take 5% more damage, I believe. So all that just from a skill that doesn't even cost anything and has a huge range. So that's the first thing I'll hit enemies with when I'm running in. It's an incredible skill. And then we're going with Resolve and Vigor, really nice heal over time, and gives us Mind Resolve, increasing our resistances, really good skill. And then we have Coagulating Blood, which is a nice heal increased up by 50% based on our missing health. Major Fortitude is, you know, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter. So I like having a really good stamina heal and then a really good magicka heal. So, you know, if I'm in panic mode but I'm out of magicka, then I can spam this. If I'm in panic mode and I'm out of stamina, I can spam this. If you're not in panic mode what you want to do if you're running out of health is use this first, so you'll get the bigger heal because you'll have more missing health, and then top up with Resolving Vigor. And then you kind of want to make sure you hit that 100% health, because then when you get hit again, it will re-proc your Sea Serpent's Coil. So just make sure you hit 100% health, just to make sure you get that Sea Serpent's Coil proc. And then I've gone with Corrosive Armor. Oxidize the green dragon blood in your veins, limiting incoming damage to 3% of your max health and dealing poison damage. But the main reason we have this is, while active, this ability and your direct damage dealt ignores enemy physical and spell resist. So it doesn't even matter how much resistances they have, you're just going to be hitting like an absolute truck. So it's really good. And because it's 216 ultimate, which is a bit expensive, we get a huge amount of resources back from the Battle Roar passive. So yeah, literally all you do is, my food ran out. So you just want to buff up. I want to hit them with degen and then elemental susceptibility. And then what I will usually do, running in, I will use Flames of Oblivion first because it's got a bit more of a range. Then I will hit them with Burning Embers. Then I will use Flames of Oblivion again, which will proc the big old Molten Whip Spin. And as you can see, the Sea Serpent's Coil flame above your head. So yeah, that's all there is to it. It's all about proccing that whip, and then if they survive that, you hit them with a spin to do some execute damage. It's really nice that most of the damage skills are magicka, so when they do get to execute range, you can start using some stamina. But yeah, nothing much to it. Last thing to go over is champion points. The usual here, nothing too crazy. I always point out Breakfall in every single one of my build videos. Get Breakfall, it's definitely good. But in the green tree it doesn't really matter. Blue tree, we've gone with Ironclad, reducing our damage taken by 6%. Focus Mending, so extra 10% healing done, that's really good. Master at Arms, increase your damage done with direct attacks by 6%. And then Thaumaturge, increase your damage done with damage over time, because we've got a lot of that, so an extra 6% there. Celerity, because movement speed is king, extra 10% movement speed, especially when you're running Sea Serpent's Coil, so it counters that a bit. Boundless Vitality for the extra health. The more health we have, the bigger our Dragon Blood procs. Pain's Refuge, this is pretty much a must-have for PvP. Reduces your damage taken by 2% for every 2 negative effects on you. There's always negative effects in PvP. And Relentlessness, being stunned or feared causes you to gain major protection for 3 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 10%. So there we have it. I've been running this build so much. Definitely stop by the stream. Kylerbite on Twitch if you want to check it out. I'm going to be playing it in the next White Strikes Mayhem event at the end of June as well. So yeah, hope you enjoy it as well. Thanks so much for watching. And that's the build. Thank you so much for watching. This is a super strong all-round build, so you can't go wrong. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And I have lots planned for the Necrom update, including a few Arcanist builds, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching everyone, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.